Welcome back, friends. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about anime in gaming. So, as an avid consumer of everything media, not only do I play video games on a regular basis, but I also enjoy watching anime. And at this point, you'll likely already know what anime is. The truth is that anime has become a normal part of our media type for storytelling of all types of different genre. And I think that with anime, you can do a lot of things that you can't do with other types of media. There are certain types of stories that you can only tell through anime. Now, I understand that not everyone likes anime, but I feel like at least most people have heard of it. So what exactly is anime if you don't know much about it? Well, anime is a very colorful and unique art form used to tell a story. Most of the animes nowadays are based off of Japanese serial comics called manga. And with this type of medium, you can build all kinds of powerful and creative stories and create very unique and interesting characters as well. Now, unlike big budget movie films, anime series tend to be a lot shorter in duration, but have a lot longer payoff in the end. So a series can go on for something like 200 or 300 episodes, but the episodes themselves might be something like 15 to 20 minutes each. That is anime in a nutshell. So now that we're all on the same page about what anime is, I wanted to talk about how anime has essentially become mainstream in just about every other form of media that we know as well, especially in gaming. Within the last couple of years, we've seen the rise of a lot of very famous anime. For example, one that I think many people know of right now, which is Demon Slayer. Or if not that, then maybe something like Dragon Ball or One Piece. With some of these animes even getting their own real life form adaptation as well. But most notably, I think, is the effect it has had on gaming. So many games nowadays, both mobile and regular console games or PC games, have taken on the medium of anime to tell their stories. And one of the reasons this is probably true is because of the unique and eye-catching colors that come along with the anime theme, as well as all of the real-life law-defying battles and stories that take place within that medium. And once again, I know there are a lot of people out there that don't really like anime, or at the very least don't enjoy it in every single thing that they do or play. And so I can understand how sometimes this can be a little frustrating. There are quite a lot of games out there that do not take the anime-inspired theme and do fairly well for themselves. But I think at this point, since anime has become such a trend, it just makes a lot of sense for these companies to follow that trend. And as for myself, someone who really enjoys anime, it's just a lot more of the things that I enjoy. However, there is such a thing as saturation, and I think the market has been completely saturated with everything anime. I believe the most popular mobile games at the moment are all anime themed, and a lot of the ones that are coming out are also going to be anime themed as well. Now, one of the drawbacks of having too much of something good is that eventually that will get turned upside down. Too many people will get tired of the same good thing, and when the market hits full saturation, we just won't know what to do with all those games and all those mediums based on just one type of style. Already, there are a lot of people fighting each other about being part of the anime community that has become so widespread between what they call anime loyalists and tourists. And I'm not really here to get involved or get in between anyone in that fight, but I think that's a sign of the things to come. Regarding mobile games, for whatever reason, a lot of the anime-inspired games tend to be gacha games. Now, there were quite a few other non-anime-inspired gacha games, but for whatever reason, those just never took off or did quite as well. For example, there was a great mobile game called Dragonair Silent Gods, which I really enjoyed, but sadly that game barely got any recognition. And again, I think it just speaks to how much of one particular style people are either drawn to or dependent on for the moment. But because of such an influx of so many similar themed style games, the competition at this point is brutal. But even though that's true, I think there's still a lot to like and a lot to enjoy about anime and anime-inspired games. At this point, there's so many anime that I'd love to watch, but I'm just not able to because the amount of anime series that are being created and the amount of time I have to actually watch them just don't add up. Back in the days, there were a lot of good anime, but nowhere near the amount that there are coming out right now. And so we were able to pick and choose the ones we wanted and maybe watch an entire series. which is something like 12 to 24 episodes. Nowadays, we have a lot of series which are anywhere between 50 to 100 or more episodes, and just a lot of different manga that are being turned into anime for us to watch. And the same is true for video games. There are a lot more video games being created as of late, and a lot of them are also anime inspired. And because of that, even though I enjoy that medium and I would really love to play that game, I simply just don't have the time to do it. But I also don't know if it's fair to judge a game based on the style that you prefer over the type of game that it is. For example, you can have 30 different anime themed games, and maybe only about 20% of them are actually something you might really enjoy. And I think the same could be true of 30 different other type of games that have nothing to do with the anime inspiration and might be equally or even more so interesting and fun to play. So while again, it's up to each person and each individual to decide what type of games they want to play and how they want to spend their time playing those games, I think it's important to not just avoid or ignore a certain type of game just because it doesn't look the way that you're used to. And this is true for those who don't typically like anime inspired games as well. Just because the story is told in a different style or narrative than you're used to doesn't mean it isn't something that you won't grow to feel like you're a part of, or that the game isn't something that you will be able to look back on and think fondly of. There are all different types of video games, some drawn in the comic book style, some made in the anime style, some made in very dark and gritty and gruesome styles, and some in very colorful, friendly, and relaxing styles as well. So again, just because something is done in a way that you're not quite used to, doesn't mean you don't owe it to yourself to give it a shot. After all, how do you know you won't actually like the game unless you actually give it a chance? What if it's that one hidden gem you've been looking for, but you passed on it just because of what's on the outside? Now, do I think this trend of anime in gaming everywhere for every reason is going to last forever? No, absolutely not. As I mentioned before, at some point, people are going to get a little bit weary of this same type of style in everything. And at that point, either they'll go back to the older way of things, which is more realistic style themes and graphics based on more real life, or else we'll create a completely new and interesting and unique style. And in turn, either one of those may end up being the go-to inspiration for other games of the future as well. So it's all just a matter of timing and the trends that we get absorbed into at the time, but nothing lasts forever. Not even if it's the most enjoyable thing in the world. And as I mentioned before, you can always get sick of something you enjoy. If you eat too much sweets, you're going to get sick of them. If you eat something too savory, you'll get sick of that too. But it's not like these things aren't noticeable. But I just think maybe not too many people talk about it. Because again, if it's something you like, you tend to not have too much of a problem with it in the beginning. In the long run, I think anime-inspired and stylized video games tend to have a lot to offer. And I honestly believe we'll be looking back at this time in gaming history with a lot of fondness and good memories. What about you? How do you feel about anime-inspired games as of late? Do you feel like they're overwhelming, or would you prefer a lot more of them? Let me know in the comments below. If you're interested in gaming content like gameplay, narratives, game reviews, gaming news, and commentary, consider liking this video and subscribe to The Hero's Blade. Until next time, wish you all the best and God bless.